In this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 different retirement strategies. A lot of people feel like there's only one retirement strategy, and if you don't adhere to that retirement strategy or it hasn't worked out where you can use that retirement strategy, then you're at a dead end, that you're really up a creek with no paddle, I think would be the expression. So maybe it would be up a river with no paddle. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to go over 5 different retirement strategies. I'll start with the most common retirement strategy, and I'll sort of ease my way into other alternative strategies that you may or may not have considered. I think part of this is about awareness and just a mindset shift, because we hear so much in the media, and the way that retirement is taught mainstream is about the 4% withdrawal, making 4% withdrawals from your retirement account. So there are other strategies, and I'll get into those. Hi, I'm Camille Gaines here, and on my website, retiresurgeon.com, I write about and talk about what I've learned from investing over the past 40 years or so, as well as stumbling into early retirement quite a while ago, way before the movement to retire early. Ours was just a bit of a stumble. So in this video and on my other videos, I share what I've learned from that experience. So these retirement strategies, yes, I use more than one. So let me start with the very first retirement strategy, and that is based on the 4% withdrawal rate. And with that strategy, just in case you're not familiar with it, and I found that a lot of people aren't based on the questions that I get here on my channel, you simply withdraw 4% a year to live. And you adjust that amount every year for inflation. So you have to increase that amount every year for inflation. This 4% rule, I've done an extensive video explaining this, but it was based on a study done by a guy named William Bingen. He was a financial planner, financial advisor, and the study was done in the 1990s. There have been other studies done around the retirement withdrawal rate and rule and strategy, and the Trinity study is the most popular of those other studies. So if you want to know more about that, you can research it, just do a quick Google search, but basically that's it. I mean, every time the study is done, it's slightly different because, well, as I like to say very often on my channel, the study period is different. And different study periods yield different results. That's why these studies, I can't completely rely on a study that was done during a time frame, and even a long time frame with an average, because that's not when I will be making retirement withdrawals. I will be making retirement withdrawals when I'm making them, and the economic conditions and the returns from the stock market or other investments, other assets, will be different. And so we can't 100% know. We can that's the first retirement strategy that I wanted to go over. It's the most common, it's the most popular, and that is what most people plan on. They make that annual withdrawal, 4%, that's 4% a year, okay? And then the first year is 4%, and then it's adjusted or increased for inflation every year after that. And this is in addition to any other income streams you might have, like Social Security. The next retirement strategy that is not as popular, but we're certainly seeing it more now, is an income-focused retirement strategy. Now, these are my names that just sort of make sense to call it an income-focused retirement strategy, because that's what it is. It's focused on income, and this is a traditional income-focused retirement strategy. And by that, I mean that the assets that the retiree owns or is going to own in retirement, they are traditional assets like stocks and bonds. With this method, the retiree just focuses on generating enough income to cover their retirement living, in addition to, they'll factor in other income streams they might have, such as Social Security or anything else they have going. So with this method, an investor would be heavily focused on dividend stocks as well as bond interest, particularly now that it's creeped back up a little bit. So that is the emphasis of the traditional income-focused retirement strategy. The investor may also look into or invest in REITs, which is real estate investment trusts, because they tend to have higher yields than common stocks, just regular common stocks do. And there are other more traditional assets that have those slightly higher yields, and an investor that's looking for that income may absolutely go into REITs and other types of securities. The main thing with this strategy is it's more traditional, and these are assets or securities that can be bought and sold in the market, just like I would log into my brokerage account and buy the REITs or buy the stocks that I'm using for the strategy if I were relying on an income-only strategy. This type of retirement strategy is really less concerned about trying to get capital gains from the investments while they own them. While they might get them, they might not get them. They might go through a bear market. And that's what I really, myself, I don't like about this strategy, is that you have to own those assets through bear markets, which I don't like, and I'll talk more about this. But so your net worth can take a real hit if you're focused on an income strategy, retirement strategy. Now, granted, the bonds might go up when the stocks go down, but you may have seen my other video where I explained that pre-1990, stocks and bonds move together. So it's not a given that bonds are going to go up when stocks go down, that our bonds will protect us. That's not always the case. And we learned that in 2022, right, when stocks and bonds went down together. So that proved itself out not that long after I did the video about the correlation is not always in place. The non-correlation is not always in place with stocks and bonds. So with this strategy, you don't worry so much about the volatility in the underlying assets. You just get that income, and that's what you're focused on. And it makes a lot of sense for investors that don't mind riding out bear markets. They don't mind the fluctuations. And as long as you can get the income and you have enough capital, because your capital has to be pretty high in order to get meaningful income from stocks and bonds. So that's retirement strategy number 2. Let me know if you want to know more about this, and I'll make a video about it. I want to talk about what you all want to know about. So in the comments section, anything in here in this video that you want me to make a video on, want to know more about, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you about that. The third type of retirement strategy is still income focused, but it is traditional and alternative. With this income strategy, you're going to still own probably those stocks and bonds for that interest income and the dividend income, but you're also going to purchase alternative assets. A lot of investors do this. A lot of investors have purchased, for example, real estate rental properties. There are other strategies that can be done that generate income, such as small business, where loans are made and the investor is paid back interest, and or there can be so many different arrangements for that. And there's also private lending in real estate where the investor makes the loan and they have ideally first lien on the property, and they get pretty good income from that, and they can get the property back if the person that bought the property defaults. So it's not just real estate rental properties, although real estate rental properties are probably the most common form of an alternative asset to sort of add into that more traditional portfolio. And there are a couple of really great things about this retirement strategy. The first is that there are tax benefits for most of these alternative investments that are income generating. So that's really fantastic. And then the second thing is that you can get a much higher return on your investment capital for alternative investments. Granted, they're sometimes riskier, but not necessarily, than more traditional assets. So you can get a higher return and you have those tax benefits. So you end up being able to keep more of the income that you make. And while you own these assets, they can also increase in price, especially real estate over time, when it's bought right. Not near the top of the market. Been there, done that. Actually, I haven't been there and done that, but I own real estate. I've owned real estate for a long time and owned multiple properties and been involved with that. So when purchased correctly and structured correctly, real estate can certainly have a capital gain as well, in addition to paying that income while you own it and providing tax benefits. The fourth type of retirement strategy is extra income focused. This is sort of a no-brainer, but for some reason people, I don't think they think about it that much. You can just go back to work part-time, and this is becoming more popular, especially now that you can work from home. And it's also a great way to ease into retirement if you just go from full-time work to part-time work. And this is a good option for a lot of retirees, but a lot of people don't think to ask for this. And it's also a great way to segue into retirement. That extra income can have a significant impact on how much you need to save for retirement, especially if you're able to do it 5, 10, 15, 20 years into retirement. If you're like me and you enjoy the mental stimulation that comes from some form of income generation, then this might work for you. Who knows, you may be able to get some health benefits as well, like health insurance coverage. Depending on your age, you may not have Medicare yet, and or you may have had dental insurance with your employer and then you don't have it if you're going to be fully retired. So maybe you can get some benefits that are otherwise really, really expensive that you sometimes have to pay for with after-tax dollars. So that's the fourth retirement strategy. I want to make a really, really important point here that relates to the fourth and the fifth retirement strategy that I'm going to cover next. And by the way, I don't want to forget to say, if you want to know more information about any of this, make sure that you leave in the comments section what you'd like for me to cover more. I think I mentioned that already, but any of these different topics, even these other more alternative retirement strategies. So a really good point I want to make though is that if you can generate just $1,700 a month in income outside of your retirement account, so you're making that money from something else, maybe rental properties or part-time employment or whatever it is that you're doing, that would be roughly equivalent to having an extra $500,000 in your retirement savings from which you're making that 4% retirement withdrawal. $1,700 a month. So it's like you've saved another $500,000 if you can generate that $1,700 a month outside of your retirement account. And yes, there are some, we're comparing sort of maybe not apples to oranges, but maybe Honeycrisp apples to Gala apples or something like that. There are some differences, yes, in that income that you generate, and it only is there, well, depending. If it's passive income, it will be there ongoing, but if it's not passive, it's like a job kind of income, then it will be there as long as you're doing it. Okay, and that leads me to retirement strategy number 5. That is what I call the income streams retirement strategy. This method can work for anyone that doesn't have enough investment capital saved to make those retirement withdrawals when they add in Social Security if they're already getting it, or they don't have any money, any capital at all, or they just want to make more. They want to, as I like to say, peak in retirement. They want to be more financially secure. They want to be more successful in retirement. They want more money. And this strategy is simply to choose one of the many, many, many ways that you can generate income now and do it. It is incredibly doable. You can do anything from consulting to starting an online business, maybe a website, maybe a YouTube channel like this. You can do services and outsource your services either locally, or you can do it on something like Upwork, where they take a small cut. And there are many, many sites like this. You can do pet sitting and dog walking. Now there's so many apps for all of this, so many platforms where you can offer your services and make money in any different way. You may think that I'm crazy sitting here having a YouTube channel. I find it very entertaining and I enjoy talking about investing, love investing, and I like this. It's okay with me. I enjoy it. Someone else may think this is horrible. That's okay. There are, I want to say, probably hundreds of ways that you can make extra income outside of employment while you're retired. And the thing is, you can combine any of these strategies. So you can combine this with strategy number one, which was that traditional retirement withdrawal, or you could combine it with the income strategy from stocks and bonds, number two. So there's many different variations of this. I like to encourage my financial coaching clients to, just figure out what they like doing, what kind of lifestyle they want to live. For me, I want flexibility. So what can I do that will give me that flexibility, but I also want fulfillment and creativity. So think of what it is you really want in retirement. And if you don't have enough for that traditional retirement strategy, don't stress. Just get to work figuring out what else you can do from this list of 5 different retirement strategies and make it happen. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up below the video. It helps me so much with my channel. I would really appreciate it. And remember, retire certain.